It's fine.
Alright. Oh, I'm unmuted now. Also, can I have french fry? I can smell them. Thank you. Alright. I'm gonna hold off on starting, just so that my partner can get my fries for me. But in the meantime, I will talk to everyone and figure out what everybody thinks about this game. Oh god, okay. The main menu is interesting. I was having quite a time trying to figure out why the cursor disappeared every time I put it in full screen. I think it's a layering issue, so maybe they put the game layer in front of the cursor layer, which is kind of an issue. So I'm playing it in windowed mode, unfortunately. This is my first time playing it. Brain no work, no good right now. Hungry. Shit. Sorry. Wow, I need people to talk to. How inconvenient. I guess I have to go bother people now. Oh no. I should actually, hang on, I forgot to disable the Elysium plugin for now. Doesn't need to be active right now. What? Install it. Can I just disable it? Can I deactivate it? Is there not a way to deactivate it? Oh, there we go, deactivate. Okay, that makes more sense. Hello. Thank you. Come try. Playing the game with my right hand, eating french fry with my left hand. Fantastic. Alright. Is everybody ready? Because I sure am not. Let's get... Oh, it's kind of covering stuff, isn't it? I will hide chat. If it covers... Actually, maybe I should just hide chat entirely. It's probably best that chat isn't there for now. Alright. Let's get going. Why did it ignore my click? There it goes. The hero and the princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Okay.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, simple enough.
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. She's not dangerous. She's just a princess. The danger comes if she gets out, which she will unless you do something about it. The more specifics you have, the harder it will be for you to do this very important job. She's a princess. People will listen to her, because listening to her is in their nature, and when they do, everything will come crashing down.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, animals have been nicer to me than people, just in general, for the most part.
Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock.
Really? That sounds like something a scammer would say.
Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us.
Okay.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Okay.
You are? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
Okay.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains? Okay. Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Okay.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess Princess?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
Okay.
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I've been down here so long, I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
Okay.
The princess hesitates before responding. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want to hear.
Are you looking for the truth, or are you looking for the right answer? Because with the dynamic we have going on here, I don't think the specifics of what I do really matter. It's not like you'd believe me.
Okay.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need. You should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
Okay.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
That's... How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world?
They didn't.
I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're getting at.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
Okay.
That seems like a pretty good compromise.
I don't think I could bear being down here that much longer.
Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out. So I'm the only one who liked that idea.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. It would make it easier for both of us if you'd help. But if you don't, I can promise that you'll regret that decision.
Okay.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just
I
doing
know
that.
you think this is some kind of fair compromise, but it isn't. No one wins here. It's a chance we'll have to take. We can make this work if we just stay here and keep watch. No one has to die.
Where are you going? You can't just leave me here.
You turn your back to the princess and make your way back to the stairs.
Fine. Turn your back on me. But it won't be long before I slip these chains. And once I'm out of here, there will be hell to pay for leaving me behind.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. Either way, she dropped the mask, didn't she? You can still grab the blade and get back down here. It's never too late to do the right thing. Now hurry.
Okay.
You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay. If we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all.
Okay.
You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall. And she is nowhere to be seen. Is it just me? Or did this room get a lot bigger? Your eyes dart to the corners of the room. You don't see her. Where is she? You close the door behind you. Almost magically, its locks immediately click into place. Maybe they'll open if you finish the job.
Oh, do you want to play a waiting game? I've been down here a long, long time. I'm very good at waiting.
You do your best to patiently wait her out, but eventually, exhaustion starts to set in. Come on, wake up. We can't fall asleep down here. You step into the shadows. Too late, you hear the quiet patter of feet against the basement floor, followed by the taut pull and sharp pain of tearing flesh as the princess lunges into you from behind and drags you to the floor. Her ferocity overwhelms you, and as the princess rends flesh from bone, your limp fingers lose their grip on the blade. It slips from your hand, your one last means of defense lying useless beside you in a pool of your cooling blood. I suppose you just lacked the will to fight back. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Okay.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Hello, Bloodstar. Serious? I did not see your message until just now, and I have no idea when you sent it, and I'm kind of feeling awkward now. Normally I have like an overlay, but I didn't want it getting in the way of the game. Okay.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature? I don't see why that matters. A lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered. She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell. That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously. Maybe. The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
Okay.
But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness. The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess. She is certainly not just a princess. You're not helping. It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you. And a little splinter clutched in trembling hands won't save you from me.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now. There's a shift in the humid air, and something enormous, the princess, lunges from the shadows, her maw unhinged and dripping, her eyes fierce and full of hunger. She is too quick to outrun, too nimble to outmaneuver, too determined to overpower. This is her domain. You are devoured. I guess that's it then, isn't it? Unfortunately for you, no, this isn't it. You are in a dark and caustic place. A thick, fibrous lining constricts around you, its slick surface impossible to grip. Your hands scrabbling uselessly at your surroundings as they compress in on you. Your lungs can barely expand in such a tiny space. Not that the humid, finite air grants you more than a few shallow breaths at a time.
You spoke when you needed to act.
The liquid pooling beneath you starts to seep into your skin. You itch, then sting, then burn as the acid begins its slow work.
When I killed you, I tried to leave this place, but it wouldn't let me. You belong down there, it screamed at me. The world is better off without you in it.
The flesh around you rumbles as the princess begins to move, her thundering footfalls twisting you helplessly about. Your skin protests as the corrosive liquid sloshes around you, but there will be no respite for you in sight. The burning grows stronger, and you can feel layers of you being peeled off.
But you don't belong down here. You came from somewhere else. You came from out there. So I consumed your dead heart, and I carried it in my throat, and I draped what was left of you on my back, and I threw myself against that door.
She stops, her muscles tensing around you, and through the muffling layers of her flesh, you hear the whine of straining metal. And with a pop, she lurches forward, your body lurching right along with her. Her chains. She's loose.
But even then, it denied me freedom. You cannot fool me by draping yourself in decay. I know your true nature, and it is suffering.
Gravity pulls at you as you're hefted upwards, the distant creaking of ancient wooden steps barely audible over the thudding of the princess's heart.
And then it was gone, and I was here. A new enclosure, a nicer cage, but still a prison. I learned from my wounds. You're alive now. We can leave together.
Does that work? Could she free herself if we're alive in here? Do you really need me to give you a definitive answer for you to understand that the situation is grim? Stop her. Do something. You still have that steel claw. Tear through her before we are her. Survive. Or we could use it to make this quick for ourselves. If she needs us in order to leave, we could at least deny her that. That is a bad thing to do.
I'm so very, very patient. If it takes lives and lives and lives to swallow my way to freedom, then that is what I'll do. I acted on my will, fledgling, and you acted on yours. The strong triumph, and the weak submit or perish.
Your body is violently jostled, the disruption causing burning skin to slop from raw muscle, and you hear what you can only assume is the princess pulling against the door to the cabin.
The cage is still locked.
I don't think we can talk our way out of this. We are drowning in death. There's no more space for words. Though you have little room to move, you use what strength you can muster to drive the blade forward into the thick walls of tissue digesting you.
I can feel you tearing through me, but are you swift enough for it to matter?
The pulling has turned to banging as the princess desperately throws everything at the cabin door. Your flesh screams as your reddened, spongy body is hit with fresh waves of blistering acid.
You can't hold me forever.
You slice again, deeper, rooting through her meat with the tip of your blade, until at last it finds her beating heart. But will can never truly exceed the limits of the flesh. Your vision finally begins to blur, your eyes clouding over as they melt in their sockets. What little air remains in this rancid stew of flesh and slippery organs is finally too foul to breathe, and your lungs mercifully give out before you have to suffer another burning, liquefying moment. Everything goes dark, and you die.
We are a path in the woods. We have no beginning, and we have no end, but something cold and unnatural sits watching us from just beyond our edge. His gaze pushes against our borders, curling them in on themselves, preventing them from stretching to the places they need to reach.
No, that's all wrong. You're not a path in the woods, you're on a path in the woods. Who's even saying that? That's not the princess, is it? Oh no. How many times have you been here? I think this is our third? That's bad. That's very, very bad. It wasn't even supposed to reach 2. If you're at 3, well, no wonder things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Let's get our facts straight. What happened last time? What could you have possibly done for things to be like this?
The thing that sits beyond our edge speaks his logic into us. He tries to grasp at things that cannot be grasped. He tries to stare with wide pupils at that which can only be held from the corner of the eye or with a passing glance.
Shut up. The rest of you, talk. What happened? What did you do? Can she hear us if we talk?
I can hear everything, little one, but you don't have to be afraid of me. There's no place where you end and I begin. Nothing can hurt you here. Not anymore.
That's just because she devoured us and we dissolved away. We don't even exist as a body anymore. We're still here, though. And if we're safe, isn't that better? She ate you. And now you're convinced that you're stuck together. What a mess.
He doesn't understand. We aren't convinced of anything, and we aren't stuck together. We're one. This is how we're supposed to be. Can't you feel it?
I guess that's it then. This is us now. We're the woods. Okay.
Voice of the hunted and voice of the broken. guess the princess bored you.
Bro! That is not appropriate for Twitch or YouTube!
You can start by remembering that you exist, and not as some part of a Gestalt entity formed with the princess. You exist as your own self, complete with your own physical body, separate from hers. I'm not so sure about that. We were something like that once, but now? And if thinking about that isn't enough to startle you back to reality, consider this. The princess ate you last time. Stop passively vibing with a literal predator and remember that you're enemies. Remember what she's done to you and how much it hurt.
We can't go back to that. We can't go back to the fear and the hunger and the pain. Not after being something as beautiful as this.
Doesn't all that conflict feel so far away right now? So petty? We've been posed against each other by something that understands the strength of our unity.
I can feel a thumping, a heartbeat, like a distant terror that keeps getting louder the more we pay attention.
Please, stop. If you let it in, we'll fall apart.
Don't look at it!
Please, don't make us remember how I was.
And just like that, you start to fall apart. I can remember it now. I didn't like being eaten. I'd forgotten how much it burned. And the air was so hard to breathe. She didn't care. She didn't care at all. As you remember the terror and pain you felt at the hands of the princess, you start to remember something else, too. You remember that you are a distinct being with a finite form and a mortal body. You can feel it. There is a shifting of the space around you, the infinitesimal movement of your molecules rearranging back into the shape of what you're meant to be. I don't like this. It's better for us to be the woods. I don't want to go back.
No! I devoured you! I won! I put things back the way they were supposed to be!
Some division, when sown, can never truly be mended. A cavernous gash rips across whatever it was you thought you were. A cabin comes into being among the trees. It approaches, and it swallows your body whole. And then you find yourself, blade in hand, exactly where you need to be. At the center of it all is the princess, a wooden and fleshy heart beating with an unbroken rhythm. You're filled with a sense of purpose. Strike at her. End this once and for all.
I feel empty, don't you?
We're just like her. And she's just like us. We never should have left her. I feel safe. She isn't dangerous anymore. We could leave her. We could both live. Do we have to do this? You have to. You know you have to. Little bastard. If you think I'm going to let you free her, you have another thing coming. And that other thing is you'll just have to wait and find out when it happens. Ignore him. His words only confuse us. Just do it. You're tired, aren't you? No, I'm not. I'm... fine. Whatever. You cut the princess down from the roots that bind her. I hope you're happy. Good luck getting her out of here. I think we are happy, actually. We might not be a part of her, but being around her is almost the same. Almost.
I didn't think you would do that after everything. It's so cold without you.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended? It hasn't ended. We're still here. Figures the world would end and leave us with all this nothing. You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. Let's just stay still. I feel anxious. Does anyone else feel anxious? There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. That thing reeks of death. I don't want to look at us. I'm begging you, don't do this. It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final.
Huh. Huh.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is like a shadow of me, twisting vines in search of answers. She will make for a curious heart. Do not mourn her. She has found what she yearned for. How can the world have ended if we are talking? You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. I know only that they are.
Okay.
She is part of me, and part of me is her.
Okay.
Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. Everything, until we meet again.
Okay.
She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
Okay.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't.
Okay.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
Okay.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
Okay.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare.
Can we not talk
It's
while
fine.
holding it?
We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You go into this expecting to die, you're going to die.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other? Then I'm not talking to you.
You stare at the princess, squinting. She squints back.
The two of you are gonna do this forever, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
For goodness sake, the two of you can't just stand around like this forever. Eventually, something is going to give, and I highly recommend that you be the one to take the initiative here.
Okay,
You
there
charge
go.
the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs.
This is the end, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I literally told you that a second ago.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me.
What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again.
She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us.
Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge?
I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic.
You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be.
If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here.
The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small?
We don't feel small. We are small.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase, its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease. This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming.
Well then.
She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor.
Well then.
But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade.
Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence.
Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel. Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you couldn't even scratch me. And yet here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas. You weak-willed buffoon.
Is that so?
The princess closes her eyes in contemplation.
Something about that thought wraps itself around my heart. It feels like a fundamental truth to my being that I'd somehow forgotten. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new. And the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
She's inevitable. There's nothing else for us to do but help her. Maybe she'll be nice to us.
This isn't about desire. This is about what I am. And I have little interest in discussing destiny with one that cannot see the divine truth that shines in my heart. Know the limits of your privilege, little bird.
There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet. I say, perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants.
No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand.
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway.
You like that?
You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce.
Alright.
The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To define me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance.
You're a little too talkative if that's what you're getting at.
Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this.
Hello, Silent Blast.
We'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. Your body is sluggish and unresponsive, actively fighting against you, but you do your best to stagger forward. One step at a time, you move towards the princess.
Slitting your throat would have been a mercy, but it seems you're in need of a harsher lesson. Plunge that knife into your lungs.
I'm sorry. Don't! As you take another step forward, the blade digs into your ribs, slicing through flesh with ease. It somehow feels like an entirely natural thing to do, while the simple act of walking has become an arduous impossibility. Then it slides back out, the wound burning as a small hiss of air escapes through the fresh orifice. Blood fills your lungs.
Now, do it again. Keep doing it until I give you permission to stop.
Those are just words. You don't have to listen to her. It's what she wants. You, heroic one, what are you doing? Don't just let this happen. Stop him from killing you. I'm on it. Your other hand locks around your wrist, struggling to keep it from perforating vital organs. But the blade still flails towards you, managing to slice bits of skin that plop to the floor to join the growing pile of blood and gore beneath you. Despite the pain, you manage to keep yourself in one piece, at least for now.
What a pitiful display. A wounded little bird, thinking it can defy a god. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to hurt so much. You can choose a gentle end. You can choose to leave that punctured vessel for the next. Or you can pathetically struggle against yourself until the floor of this temple is painted with the bloody impressions of your futility.
You continue to approach the princess, even as the repeated gouges of your blade expose bone and muscle to the open air of the basement. You know, this would be a lot easier if you gave us a hand. My influence only goes so far, and I can only juggle so many things at once. The best I can do right now is to continue to drive you forward. Believe me, this whole ordeal would be so much easier if I didn't have to contend with free will.
You're the one making things difficult. You're the one making us hurt. She doesn't want to hurt us. She's just doing what she has to.
Stop.
As you finish crossing the room, you fall to your knees at the princess's feet, your chest heaving as your blood pools in the crevices of the stone floor, the coppery taste coating your throat. The princess kneels down, lifting your chin with her finger as her face lowers to yours.
Your devotion is misplaced. You've surrendered to delusion. But something about your defiant spirit speaks to me. You are different than you were before. Perhaps, if you've learned your lesson, I can spare you from the release of death.
That's a little demeaning, isn't it? Yes, how thoughtful of her. It's a mercy. Take it. I think he's given up whatever say he had at the start of all this. At least one of you is sane. She's within striking distance, and she's only negotiating now because she knows you have what it takes to put an end to her. Seize the moment before it's too late.
No.
Yes. Though your body trembles, struggling to defend itself in the face of the princess's overwhelming will, you finally manage to break through, darting to her side before she can react. The wind of your freedom rushes through you, and you channel it into a decisive blow, stabbing into the soft flesh of her ankle and severing the tendons in an act of unyielding defiance. She falls to the floor, crashing unceremoniously to her knees. But you don't give her any time to recover. Your heart pounding with determination, you plunge your blade into her chest. As you find your target again and again, she laughs, crude emotion breaking through her once stony composure as your blade cuts her flesh. We can do this, can't we? You always could. The decision to give you this task was not made lightly. You're here for a reason.
It's not too late to pick up the pieces. It's not too late to toss that blade aside and beg for forgiveness.
Shut up.
I can't believe you would actually strike me. You heathen! You worm! You defiler! You don't know the consequences of your arrogance!
Before you can strike the final blow, the princess lashes out, knocking you off your feet. There's an unsettling wet pop as your spine breaks, numbness and pain spreading through your body. As you rebound towards the ceiling in a moment of disorientated lightness, she drives her fist into your chest. Your body is crushed as she pulverizes you into the floor, the ground itself breaking from the impact. You lie there, broken, beyond pain, unable to even see what she's done to you. But the princess is succumbing to her own wounds as well. She looks down upon her body in abject horror and disgust.
You made me use my hands. I can feel myself twisting into something new, something dull, something defiled. What have you done to me?
You're monsters and conspirators. I can't bear to watch this.
The princess has been nothing but cruel to you. You should feel liberated by her fall.
But I don't feel liberated. I feel empty.
Aside from the pain, I feel fine. She collapses to the floor. Her glassy eyes watch, unblinking, yet somehow still full of anguish and fear, as the two of you perish together. I suppose we were never gonna get a happy ending here, were we? Don't let those be your final thoughts. You saved the world. That's worth something, I guess. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's finally over. Thank you. Everything goes dark, and you die.
I read that as the furry initially.
On a path in the woods. And at the end of the path... Okay, what the hell is that? I think he's upset. And what's he got to be upset about? We just killed a god.
Exactly. You heathens destroyed the most beautiful thing that ever was, and ever will be.
You're damn right we did. You'll get over it. I can't say I have much sympathy for you. She was bad for us and you almost got us killed.
You're being too generous. He did get us killed.
Alright, enough chatter. Got a thing I'm supposed to do, and if you don't mind, I'd like to do it without any more interruptions. Okay, great, you're listening. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a... This is just great.
Oh, I did not. Okay, is there a way to go
Let me
back a
cut
little
to the
bit?
chase.
Dang
Clearly
it.
you've already been here.
You can do
Yeah,
a
you
set
think?
thing, I think.
Oh, can I? Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna, I guess, return? Okay.
Actually, I don't think we have been here. This is all different, isn't it?
Yes, precisely. And if you'd given me 2 seconds to finish my thought, I would have said that. Oh, you're actually letting me talk now. Great. If you've already been here, it means you've seen things you aren't supposed to have seen, and you know things that you aren't supposed to know. This doesn't look like a path in the woods if reality seems distorted. It's because reality is distorted. So you knew this could happen. You knew we'd be able to restart like this. Look, if the world around you is changing, especially all the way out here, then that means you're nearing the point of no return. Whatever happens next, that's it. There won't be any more do-overs. So you'd better take things seriously. Then what happens? Have you even been listening? It's the end is what happens.
What'd you say?
I was saying, when I was at bottom choice since you've been able to.
Yeah, but is there something after the end? How am I supposed to know? The end means finality. It's not like I can just peek on over to the other side and tell you what it's like there. If there even is a there, it doesn't matter because we're going to win. Now that's exactly the sort of mindset I like to see. Don't let yourself be consumed with self-doubt. Don't flirt with oblivion. Just focus on the present and everything will be absolutely fine.
Sit.
I'm tempted, I'm not gonna lie.
So what if I'm speaking my mind? It's not like I've ever really gotten a say in...
What?
What a crock of shit. Yeah, you stabbed us last time. Repeatedly.
It didn't even work. It doesn't count.
We died. If you didn't submit to her, for all we know, that wouldn't have happened.
It's the punishment you all deserved for not listening to me. To her.
Aside from our sulking friend, I don't think you have much to worry about. You're still the one in charge here, and I don't think that's ever gonna change. Second he tries something, I'll put a stop to it.
Okay.
Good, we're all on the same page. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up at the cabin on the hill. You'll find the princess within, as I'm sure you already know. Enter. That's it? No final words of advice? I'd rather not waste any more time. I'm sure that any advice I'd give at this point is something you've already heard.
If there's still a princess at the cabin, maybe we can salvage things. Maybe if we just grovel and apologize, things can go back to how they were before.
Oh, cut it out, will you? We need to be tough right now. And you're making it so much harder than it has to be, so stop whining. The interior of the cabin is a place that feels long forgotten. There was once an elegance to its construction, carved marble columns holding a high arched roof, vaulted windows letting in the weak starlight. But that is how it was. Now there is a growth that has overtaken it. A viscous fluid seeps from cracks in the stone walls, and it congeals into chaotic streaks of writhing nerves and wet clumps of living meat. That's horrible.
You did this. The only furniture of note is a pulsating pedestal, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. A mirror? There is no mirror. There's the pedestal, the blade sitting on the pedestal, and the door to the basement. Just tell us where the door is. I'd like to get back to fighting, and if you want us to kill her so bad, I'm sure you feel the same. No more messing around. I don't know what to tell you. There isn't a mirror because I would know if there was a mirror. You're either seeing things or you're confused on the definitions of door and mirror. Or you're seeing things. That seems far more likely. What are you trying to say?
He thinks we've lost it. That we're succumbing to madness, that something in us has broken.
That's an unnecessarily melodramatic way to describe a hallucination, but sure. I'm not going to waste time arguing with any of you. It went away after we touched it last time. Let's just do it again. You take the blade from the pedestal. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. Nothing feels better than gripping cold steel. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it. As if you don't see it. You really don't, do you? How strange.
It really is just like last time. Are we really hallucinating? Why here? Why now?
Smash it. Smash it to pieces. It's the only thing keeping us from her.
Don't you want to know what we'll see then? We won't be able to see anything if we smash it.
Nah, I'm with him on this one. Smash it! Let's get violent already. Do whatever you want with it. The mirror isn't real, so how you handle it doesn't matter, aside from wasting dangerous amounts of time. You reach forward and drag your hand across the door leading to the basement. As if on command, it slowly slides open, scraping against the stone floor, its ancient hinges moaning as it reveals the dim path ahead.
Why am I not surprised?
You step forward into the darkness. The stairs leading down to the basement are at once both narrow and grandiose. A high-vaulted ceiling stretches up into a gloom beyond your sight, while walls wet with tumorous growths press in uncomfortably at your sides. You feel both unprotected and trapped, at once exposed and claustrophobic. The air is thick, its odor an oppressive violence, the metallic scent of fresh blood twisting with the nauseating embers of charred remains. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, a bellowing rage, roars up the stairs.
Was severing the tendons of my ascension not enough for you? Was it not enough to rend my divine heart? Come, see the horrors you've wrought upon my flesh, and feel my hands set upon your throat.
She's so angry with us. Why? Why did you desecrate her? Why couldn't I stop you?
You've got to stop thinking about her like that. It isn't doing anyone any good.
She's not some untouchable god. She's an abomination, and we're going to put an end to her once and for all.
Whatever she is now is our fault. If she's an abomination, then what does that make us?
She was going to end the world last time.
If I might interject, you didn't make her into an abomination. She's always been what she is. It's why you're here, and it's why your task is so important. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. The chamber's walls are painted in blood, a deep, sickening red that drips down in clotted streams onto the charred corpses that make up its floor. This place reeks of torment, of ripped skin and burning bone. The princess stands in its center, muscles flayed and bare and weeping, draped in a tattered dress of her own skin. Her heart beats from its place in her open chest.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you?
There's not so much a moment of hesitation before she steps forward. Her chains pull taut, holding fast as she strains against them. The cuff around her wrist digs deeper into her skin. Blood drips from the place where metal meets flesh. And then, with a nauseating sound, the skin tears. It plops to the ground, and she pulls her red, glistening arm free from her bindings. She is loose, and she is coming for you.
Let her end it.
It's the punishment you all deserve for what you did to her. It's the punishment I deserve for letting it happen.
Screw that. We can win. We've done it before and we'll do it again, only this time we'll make it out the other side. Hell, she's practically done most of the work for us. Your heart free of fear, you charge towards the princess, your eyes locked on each other, both of you prepared to lay down your very essence in one blow. It's now or never. Let's make it a beautiful blaze of glory. With a horrifying squelch, you are unwound.
Oh.
I hope you weren't planning on dying. We're going to make this last forever.
Oh dear.
Huh. I feel cold. I've never felt cold before.
Look, there's feathers.
Yep, I see that.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? What is that supposed to mean? Whatever awful thing I felt before, it feels so much worse now. This is what we all deserve, isn't it?
Screw that! This can't be the end, it just can't!
You've grown? What?
There's more stuff in the reflection this time.
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed, but in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them.
Okay,
Do
fair
not
enough.
worry. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets.
Okay.
This one is desecration. She placed the weight of her agony on you, yet it is she who unwound herself. But there is passion and empathy in her misery. She will make for a burning heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally found peace.
The vessels are a weave of emotion at odds with themselves, but they are only perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence. I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
Sound warning? Why would there be a sound warning?
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, I'm gonna save real quick. Okay.
While I appreciate the mental exercise
Oh!
we are running up
You want
against
me to stop now?
a ticking clock.
Yeah, it's 7:30. We should run to bed.
Alright.
Nevertheless, let me assure you, the
Okay.
princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
I'm just gonna overrate this one. I'm not sure what that means right now, but I need to end stream, go to bed, and do bedtime stuff. So I'm going to go offline for now. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Sorry to Sigma, since I had to end stream right after you got here. But yeah. Good night, and I'll see you next time.